Welcome back to my channel. I have this layout that I did for Media Mayhem, and with the trees, and it did not record. So I am going to show you how I did this part because I played and it was fun. So I am going to do it on a smaller bit, and this is just a piece of white cardstock, and I'm just going to recreate that bit because, well, I can. So let's start with some inks. So I used bundled sage, I used peeled paint for the greens for the trees, as well as my 49 in Market rainforest. And then for the background, I used Stormy Sky and then Walnut Stain. So you can see the walnut stain is here, and then the blue background that you see in bits is Stormy Sky. So I'm going to start that with packaging technique. So actually, let's clean that off first. Sorry if that's really noisy. I don't usually do these live, so we're trying something new today. Only because it didn't record yesterday. So is what it is. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put some Stormy Sky on this piece of acetate backing. It did have some letters on it at one point. And then add some water. And I do want to make sure that there's not any lines there. And then I am just going to smush it. So this is the packaging technique. And I'm just going to go like so. Let's see, about a little bit more. Okay. And then I used a little bit of walnut stain. And I don't need very much on this one because it's just going to go on the edges. And again, I need a little bit of water. And just to make sure that it's not going to have funny lines. Okay, and so then that is done. And then the next thing I did is I cut out of packaging a tree shape. So I'm going to use that same tree shape to do my trees. I did try to start with to use the actual cutout piece, and here it is, and I smushed the ink on it and then popped it on, but that didn't really work as well as just doing it this way with the ink pad. So I think maybe I'm not going to do it exactly the same with the bottom part. Maybe I'll make these a little smaller too. So I started with the bundled saged one. I'm just going to load up my brush and then just ink blended right over top. And then load up my brush again. And this one I'm not doing as heavy-handed because I do want them to be a little different. And then I'll do one more of these ones, I think. And then I'm going to put some peeled paint on here. So this one is a little bit more of the yellow in this green, which is totally fine. I'm just going to load up the same green brush that I'm using, and it's not a big deal. Like that. And then the last one I used was the 49 in Market for this. And Notice I'm not being too precious about getting all the way down with this one. I kind of want it just to blend out a bit. I don't want it completely lined up. Okay, and so now I've got a forest. And in the inspiration piece, they did it definitely with a paintbrush and with some actual like paint. I'm not a painter, so what I did is then I took my edge of my ink pad, and I just pulled down and then did the lines across to give some of that idea of that acrylic painting. Is it perfect? Nope. Does it really matter? Not so much. Okay, and then the last thing I did is I took a chalk, and then I did the same thing but with the chalk. Just add a little bit of other color and dimension on here. And with those ones, I did take a little bit of paper towel and smudge it out a little bit because I didn't like the really harsh line, but I still wanted a part of that. Okay, sorry about that. I had a phone call. So yeah, then I just smudged this a bit so it wasn't so strong. And then that is basically what I did on that background. And then the last thing I did is I had this Rome acetate piece, and I took the same chalk and went around it so that it had some of that color. I did extend the green and the blue down a bit, so kind of has that mirrored look, like it would be a lake. And then I edged this in black just to add a little more grungy, and outlined my Rome in black so that it stood out just a little bit more because I didn't want it to get lost. And that was just with a Sharpie. And then I chose this funky picture of me because I'm making a funny face, because why not? And with my kids. So this also does the bingo for the Christmas bingo, because there's my significant other, and this is acetate, so that would work for the acetate again. But there's not a crazy amount on here, but I really do like how it turned out. As this was a hop for Mixed Media Mayhem, they will be linked below for the playlist. Make sure you go show some of those other people some crafty love. I will also link the Counterfeit Kit Challenge blog post as well, because this has my significant other and the acetate piece there on it, which some of it I already used, but like the acetate. And obviously those are some close-ups. Thank you so much for watching today. I really do hope you liked this different in video today. Let me know in the comments below if you did. Like, subscribe, and share that crafty love. Thank you so much for being here today. Have yourself a wonderful day.